It's an understatement to say that the Shibuya incident arc of Jujutsu Kaisen was utterly devastating. This story arc is the culmination of multiple key moments combining to create the worst possible scenario. Anything that could have gone wrong did in fact go wrong, and frankly none of our favourite characters were safe. The Shibuya incident arc has proven itself to be easily one of the most memorable story arcs in all of shonen manga, and admittedly it was adapted into anime form amazingly. The Jujutsu Kaisen anime adaptation is of course being produced by the infamous Studio Mappa, who I have already spoken about extensively on this channel. Now, continuing on from my earlier video, I just wanted to follow up on what has been going on with the animators' backlash against Studio Mappa, as well as how certain Jujutsu Kaisen fans have been handling this entire situation. Some of the animators who vocally expressed their concerns spoke about how they were disappointed in their own work. Now, this is absurdly talented individuals like Hakuyu Go, and more recently even the sensational Vincent Chansard, who has sworn off from ever working with Studio Mappa again. This isn't a rumor or a myth, it's a fact that animators who have worked for Studio Mappa were financially, emotionally, and professionally taken advantage of. There have been several animators who have expressed how poorly they were treated by the studio, with some animators even going as far as to say that if they had been working under these conditions in another country, then it would have been deemed to be illegal, alluding to Mappa possibly violating the worker rights of its contracted employees. These are some absolutely insane statements that are being voiced out loud by the animators. The entire situation is made worse by the fact that Studio Mappa went ahead to have their animators sign non-disclosure agreements in an attempt to silence their ability to voice their concerns about the studio's poor working conditions. All of this is a lot to take in, but trust me, this is just a warm-up. We need to ask ourselves, why or how did Studio Mappa get to this point? In poor taste, fans have been joking on TikTok and Twitter about Studio Mappa workers not being able to see their families. When a new announcement is made, fans comment on how the animators will have to sleep in the office for another year. It's insane that these comments are coming from Jujutsu Kaisen fans who have no idea about the reality of working for Studio Mappa. So how is it that Studio Mappa has made an enemy of certain talented animators who over the years have helped to build the studio's reputation as a producer of very high quality works? I'm going to be breaking down and explaining this entire situation in this comprehensive video, so be sure to stick around until the very end of the video so that you know everything about the Mappa incident and what changes can be made to the anime industry so that the working conditions for animators can be ultimately improved. I've spent a great deal of time researching the current crisis that is unfolding within the anime industry and the role that Studio Mappa is playing in all of this. While there are a number of factors contributing to animators being dissatisfied, and Studio Mappa isn't actually the only animation studio who is taking advantage of its animators. All of this is a very complicated situation, but Mappa does however have one key figure who is largely responsible for what is happening over there. This is the CEO of Studio Mappa, Manabu Otsuka. Otsuka is someone who is relentlessly driven to position Studio Mappa as a leading animation powerhouse, and it's thanks to his ambition which has resulted in the studio forming a terrible reputation amongst animators. However, pinning the blame solely on Otsuka's ambition does oversimplify this entire situation. The real issue is much broader, and it's embedded within the very fabric of Japanese working culture. If you didn't know, working in Japan is notorious for its grueling hours, unpaid overtime, and intense workloads and pressure, which is all being normalized by the society. This working culture has permeated itself into the anime industry, and it's resulted in an environment where exhaustive workloads and unrealistic deadlines are the norm. The situation with Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2, where episodes were reportedly finished just hours before their broadcast, highlights the extreme conditions under which animators are working. Japan's toxic work culture has resulted in a phenomenon called Karoshi, or death from overwork. Workers are discouraged from protesting against long work hours, unpaid overtime, as well as their insane workloads, and if they are seen to be complaining, then they're labeled as being lazy. Now, this is a serious stigma to have within Japanese society. Death from overwork or Karoshi results from heart attacks, strokes, and other stress-related conditions. This is a symptom of a work environment which pushes its employees to their absolute limits without adequate rest or support. The issues faced by the animators is a reflection of the deep-seated societal and corporate norms that prioritize productivity over the individual's well-being. This is why some have joked and have referred to the Japanese as the most efficient worker bees. It's no exaggeration to say that they work until they drop dead. Let's link this back to anime production, and I believe that most anime fans have little to no knowledge about how their favorite series are made. Every anime is subject to a production committee system. Production committees manage the financial aspects of an anime production, but this has led to several issues with animators struggling with low budgets and difficulty in raising the production budgets for any given anime. Production committees are formed when several companies work together and they contribute to the different aspects of production and distribution of the anime. By combining and working together under one big committee, it spreads out the financial cost of anime productions, because if you didn't know, making anime is hella expensive. These committees take advantage of the different strengths of each of the involved companies in order to create, promote, and profit from the final anime work. This production committee system began with classic movies like Akira and Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind. It then expanded into TV anime in 1992. Some production committees can have as few as 2 companies, while others have more than 10. The distribution of the total financial cost of making the anime is not split equally amongst all the companies involved. The order of companies as they are listed on the production committee often indicates their level of financial contribution. Take for example the Bleach production committee, which is composed of Shueisha, TV Tokyo, Dentsu, and Studio Pierrot. Shueisha are the right holders for the original manga work. We then have TV Tokyo, who air the anime at a contracted time slot on their TV channel. Then Dentsu, a massive advertising agency who is involved in the production of over 330 anime, including Attack on Titan, Gintama, Naruto, Kitekyo Hitman, and many more, also help to financially contribute to the creation of the anime. Last but not least, we then have Studio Pierrot, who are responsible for animating the final work. So as you can see, you have the sponsor, which is typically companies like McDonald's or Bandai, then the ad agency like Dentsu, then a TV station like TV Tokyo or Fuji TV. All of these companies form together to form the production committee. So you can see, in terms of a production committee, there are a lot of stakeholders. But what's important to note is that animation studios usually have lower positions within production committees, as you have seen with Bleach, with Studio Pierrot being listed at the end, hinting that they have contributed the least financially. When it comes to larger studios like Toei Animation or Production IG, they bring more money to the table, and hence they take on a leading role within the production committee because they are typically financing a large part of the production. So the financial contribution that is made by each of the players highlights who is taking on the most risk, and hence which company has the most influence over decisions that are made for that given anime production. This affects everything from who is casted to voice characters and who gets the distribution rights for the anime. The main thing that I want to highlight is that the companies who bring the most money to a production committee play a crucial role in all of the decision making. Their influence easily overshadows that of the animation studio who are actually working on the anime. The desire for power and influence over a production committee leads to complicated negotiations, delays, as well as power dynamics forming. Despite more anime being produced now than ever before, almost all anime are in fact underfunded. This is because caps are placed on the budget for anime productions by the members of the production committee. The companies prioritize investing just enough to have the highest contribution to lead the committee, but they also lower their risk by not increasing their budgets even slightly, even if it's for a successful anime project like Jujutsu Kaisen. This is the reason why we are seeing more 13-episode anime cores. The large animation budgets are split across multiple smaller projects rather than increasing the budget of a single long-running anime work. This results in a lot of anime being created, but with each of them having relatively low budgets. This financial structure, while it does an amazing job of protecting the company's investment and lowering their exposure to risk, it comes at the cost of affecting the well-being of animators and thus impacting the overall quality of the final anime that is produced. The companies that contribute the most financially also profit the most from the success of the anime. This results in minimal profits for animation studios even if a series performs really well. The animators are then paid lower wages and they work more hours for less or even no pay in some instances. Now, a lot of you will say that animators are effectively self-employed contractors, so they can decide who they work for, but this logic doesn't apply when the entire industry is built upon this broken system. This has resulted in the decline of the anime industry. Understandably, old and new talented animators are discouraged to work under these poor conditions and low wages. Now, I want to link this back to Studio Mappa, because the already broken system is made worse by the practices of Mappa, who are taking advantage of this situation in order to generate more profit for their greedy CEO, and it comes at the expense of their workers. The issue of the production committee system is compounded by the bad practices of Mappa, who have actually made some animators promise to never work with them again. Manabu Otsuka's ambition is to make Mappa a great animation studio similar to the likes of Ufotable or KyoAni, but he's going about this in the worst way possible. One of the major things that he has done is steer Mappa towards rapid growth by taking on several high-profile anime projects. Now this has resulted in Mappa being positioned as a very notable studio within the animation industry. Under Manabu Otsuka's leadership, Mappa has acquired several popular series like Jujutsu Kaisen, Chainsaw Man, Attack on Titan, and many others. This strategy has increased Mappa's visibility and their influence within the wider anime industry. Otsuka did something really crazy when he bought the rights for Chainsaw Man. He had actually sidestepped the formation of a production committee for Chainsaw Man, thereby centralizing all of the profits generated for the anime to solely Studio Mappa. This is a very bold business move, but it's contributed to the animators who are working for the studio being overburdened by the level of work that Otsuka is taking on. Typically, by forming a production committee, other companies would have invested into Chainsaw Man and would have realized that Studio Mappa have a lot going on at the moment, which may have resulted in a delay for the anime being created. But because Mappa is the sole contributor to the production committee for Chainsaw Man, they added an all-new anime to their already crazy workload. By doing this, he had overloaded the studio with work, leading to tight schedules and strenuous working conditions for the animators. This situation reportedly resulted in episodes being completed just hours before airing, reflecting the crazy pressure that is placed on the animation team. This emphasis on rapidly churning out more and more anime and taking on multiple projects at the same time has resulted in concerns about the well-being of the animators who have worked for Studio Mappa. As I've mentioned, this has resulted in animators who are sick of working for Mappa finally speaking out about what they have endured. The situation at Studio Mappa under Otsuka's leadership reflects all of the broader systemic issues within the anime industry. As more awareness is being spread about this issue, fans are demanding for better working conditions for the animators and for studio executives like Otsuka to take accountability for what they have done. Because of the insane amount of work that is being taken on by Studio Mappa, the tight deadlines results in the studio needing to hire even more animators so that they can brute force an anime project out of the door. They're able to do this thanks to the studio having a massive network of talented animators on their beck and call, so they're able to make up for a lot of lost time. This in turn leads to tons of other shows being robbed of talent due to animators who would have been working with other studios now working on Studio Mappa projects in a desperate attempt to save their anime projects, which are severely delayed in their schedules. I mean, this was really evident in the production of the Chainsaw Man anime, where they had shot multiple other productions in the foot with their poor management practice. A lot of other anime that aired at the same time as Chainsaw Man were robbed of talented animators because Otsuka wanted to force out the Chainsaw Man anime while the manga was really popular overseas and domestically. Some young and very talented international animators are in fact enticed to work for Studio Mappa. They are promised that they are going to work on big name anime productions, and they are effectively groomed into working for less pay with strict deadlines, and they are contractually obligated to deliver subpar work which falls below their usual standards. On top of this, the animators are made to then sign NDAs, which stops them from sharing their experiences working for Studio Mappa with others. It is naive to think that animators have any choice in this matter. Some are lured and trapped to work for Mappa, and they are forced to continue working because they are under contract to deliver cuts of animation. This isn't the US or the Western world where animators can freely just hop in and out of jobs as they please. It is a lot more sinister and shady than this. To be honest, this is just the stuff that we know about because God knows what is going on behind the scenes. In the end, this affects the quality of the anime project, with multiple episodes appearing unfinished, as we have seen with Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2, Chainsaw Man, and even some episodes of Attack on Titan. The lack of time often leads to episodes being finished a couple of days to even hours before the broadcast. There are some cuts that are never finished, and there's continuity errors in the animation, as we see with Mahito's shirt in Jujutsu Kaisen. When the animation quality suddenly takes a drop, fans are very quick to threaten animators on Twitter, holding them responsible for ruining their favorite scenes which are adapted from the manga. These smooth brains are targeting the victims of a very flawed system, and frankly they are turning a difficult job into a thankless one. Imagine working tirelessly for less pay and working overtime in order to produce the best animation that you can within a strict time limit, and in the end the reward is a death threat or an insult by some crayon eater who has never worked a day in their life. If you have made it to this point in the video, then you'll realize that there is is a need for change in how anime is created, new methods for financing and creating better funded anime projects which improve upon the working conditions for animators is urgently required. Some veteran animators are looking into the possibility of opening their very own animation studios which are focused on fair labor practices. All of this is echoed in a report posted yesterday titled "The Current Situation and Issues of Our Country's Animation Industry." This was submitted by the Japanese think tank, the Japanese Research Institute. Their report speaks about the growing demand for anime from overseas fans and the need to improve the working conditions of animators in order to meet this demand. This report is so timely, it is honestly a nice way to bring some hope to this depressing situation. The Japanese Research Institute advises solutions like a government intervention and even the formation of an animation industry labor union in order to reform the current working environment by providing minimum wages and better working conditions for animators. It also proposes that animation studios should be prioritized to receive more of the profits from domestic and overseas sales of anime works so that they can better reimburse their workers, instead of the other members of the production committee who often swallow up the large amounts of profits that are typically generated from anime. The think tank promotes a shift from a profit-driven model to one that prioritizes the well-being of animators and the overall sustainability of the Japanese animation industry. If anime studios are to keep up with the growing demand for high-quality anime works, then a change definitely needs to be made. A lot of time and effort went into researching for this video, and I know that fans can get defensive and heated when it comes to any criticism about their favorite work. However, it's important to detach the facts from personal feelings. The process behind anime production has been flawed for a very long time, and real people are suffering because of it. If you want to learn more about this topic, I have linked all of the sources that I've used for this video in the description. I highly recommend that you check out these articles and posts in order to form an even better understanding of why the way that anime is made needs to change. I really appreciate all of your time. Thank you for taking the time out to understand the plight of the animators who are working on all of these series that we love. I may have been too emotional in my initial tweets on the matter, so for that I apologize, because this is an issue that is dear to my heart, so it's difficult to not let emotions get in the way. Regardless, the best thing that we can do is to learn more about this issue and to spread awareness with others. If you liked this video, then consider sharing it with other anime fans so that they too will be able to understand how anime is produced and why things definitely need to change. A massive thank you goes out to all of my amazing Patreon supporters for helping to make this video possible. If you also want to support the channel and see your name in the end of my videos, then check out my Patreon, which has loads of perks like early video access and so much more. Thank you for sticking around till the end of the video, and whatever you contribute will mean a lot to me.